Shalom. All praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahawashai, Ba'asham Racha Kwadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of the great millstone, and salutations to all you sincere Akiam. And this is your brother Abawan back again with another video through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahawashai, Ba'asham Racha Kwadash. All praises and glory is due. And I was just doing a little research on nuclear maps, right? So you have a nuclear map of the US, which is basically all the major points in which, if there ever was a nuclear war, all the nuclear warheads would be sent to from various nations. And it was just the usual places, which are the major cities, right? The military points, where most of the nuclear control centers are. And I saw this article, man, and this article went deep, okay, and it's probably just going into. And I had another one, so okay, hold on, let me get out. Let me get this one first. Let me start with this one because that second one, it went deeper than that second one went hard. But this is the one I want to start with first, the US nuclear target map, which is basically showing you all the major nuclear targets that you have for Babylon the Great. Of course, we know that it's far more than this because this is only assuming that the other nations send their nuclear warheads to Babylon the Great, which is America. But we know that even the nuclear warheads that are in the US will also be sent to the US as well. So basically, when they are shot out, they will do a 360 and turn right back around and destroy America, Babylon the Great. And also the fact that well, not really all, but the vast majority of the nuclear missiles that are currently in silos all over the world are targeted at America, Babylon the Great, which of course that is it's basically a fact. It's not even a matter of, well, that's what's going to happen in Bible prophecy. It's just a fact. A lot of these nuclear missiles that you see on the earth, they're all targeted at Babylon the Great. So this is the article right here, US nuclear target map. Out of curiosity, I searched for maps that may reveal nuclear targets in the United States, and I've posted them here for your interest. The nuclear target map shown above is one that I put together based on a number of factors, looking at other maps and data including military installations, nuclear weapon storage, and silo locations, bases, and cities, right? Because in the event of a nuclear war, right, the major targets would be the most populous cities, the nuclear control centers, Washington D.C., where the actual, the main nuclear launch codes are, because it's always in possession of the president, right? And these are the major targets that will be hit in the time of a nuclear war. So continuing on, no doubt I've missed a number of them as well as other probable strategic locations. It's simply presented as food for thought. The three, okay, and let's just going into the details concerning how that nuclear war will shape out. Of course, we don't even need to read all of this because you know that it doesn't matter what city or what area you're in Babylon the Great, every single square meter of Babylon the Great will be destroyed by nuclear fire, the indignation of the Most High Yahweh Sham Yahushai. So let's continue on, and you see a lot of these nuclear maps, which is basically showing you all the areas that are going to be targeted by the missiles. Okay, so let's read this one. Nuclear exchange targets map on the USA. Update: I found the following nuclear targets map in the public domain from Martin Vargic on halkionmaps.com, who makes infographics and various maps. Targets are based on data from the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, and Wikipedia. Interestingly, the fallout direction is also shown and is based on general prevailing wind direction, although obviously wind direction could be different depending on today's weather. And this is basically the nuclear fallout map. Okay, so it even shows all the details and all the key. It even gives you even more of the details and all the legends on how this is going to go. So you have, and let me see if I can blow this up. Open image in new tab. Let's go to that. So let's see this a little bit. It has all the details, and you see this one, the targets. The yellow is for civilian targets, military targets, and infrastructure targets. And of course, all the major cities are pointed out, and all the major military strongholds in Babylon the Great are pointed out. You also have effects of a full-scale nuclear exchange on the United States of America. So major wildfires, severe fallout, medium fallout, minor, all these details. And you see in this map, right? You have some places that would be more or less unaffected by the nuclear, by basically a nuclear explosion, or nuclear blast, which of course, according to Bible prophecy, is not going to happen because all of Babylon the Great will be destroyed according to Bible prophecy. So let's get this in the book of Revelation 17. So I think you know what, there's one I want to get in Revelation 17, but the main one I think is in Revelation 18, where it says, Babylon is falling, and it's falling, and it's become the habitation of, and it's become a desert, and the habitation of devils and unclean and hateful birds. So that's the main one, but I want to get this one as well, okay? So this is the book of, let's see, here it is, Revelation 17, verse 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. And this is, of course, speaking about the other nations, right? Launching their missiles at Babylon the Great, because it's not just going to be Russia, it's not just going to be China, but basically all the nuclear capable nations sending missiles into Babylon the Great. So let's go to the book of Revelation 18. Revelation 18, verse 1. And after these things, and this is that we will just jump from Revelation 17 to Revelation 18. And after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is falling, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird, right? Because the whole of Babylon the Great will be destroyed. Okay, so let's go back to this article right here. And there's something I wanted to get out of it. And let me see if I can find this. And this, I guess, it's not, probably not this one. So yeah, there was something else I wanted to get out of it. Yeah, it's definitely not this one, but it has all the details going into the nuclear targets, the fallout maps, and the rest, and the like, and even how the fallout, which is basically the shockwave of the nuclear missiles, because you know how it is, once the nuclear missiles hit, it will also, the radiation and the heat will be carried by the wind, and the shockwave of the impact will also be carried are all across that area, okay? Because the main explosion isn't even the end of the destruction. You also have the shockwave, you have the fallout, you have the radiation and the like. So this is in the article, the one I was looking for. It's probably still this one, right? Because I don't really, yeah, because I've gone through them, of course, but now I'm mixing them up because I went through them, and I went through them, and then the spirit jumped on me to do a video on it. I was reading. It was mainly because of this one, because when this I went into details about exactly how these missiles will be launched and how this attack and everything would impact the US, mainly America, Babylon the Great, but also the rest of the world. But we're focused on America, Babylon the Great, because you know that the vast majority of these missiles will be launched there. So this is the article right here. Nuclear War 2024 attacks, map, key targets, and fallout risks. What if you had a nuclear attack map before the first warhead went off, and if you're in Babylon the Great when these nuclear missiles begin to be launched, all right, and you're not of the elect, no nuclear attack map will save you, because all of Babylon the Great is going to be destroyed. All of it will be turned into a desolate wilderness. This is the promise which the Most High Yahweh Hashem Yahshua has made, that he will destroy Babylon the Great. That he will destroy, that's why we see, that's why we constantly tell you that America, Babylon the Great will be destroyed with nuclear fire, right? And we just read that about that in the book of Revelation, the 18th chapter, Revelation 17 and 18. So continuing on. So okay, let me go back. I want to go back to that a little bit. I want to go back to that a little bit. This is the Revelation 17. The judgment of the harlot, right? Let me get that. So this is the book of Revelation 17, verse 1. And there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying, Come hither, and I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. And I should have started with this precept, but I wanted to jump down to the main point real quick, so I forgot to bring that out. But yeah, this is basically what we are going into, the judgment of Babylon the Great and the end of Babylon the Great, which is, of course, the nuclear destruction. Now, Revelation 17, verse 2, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. Right, and there is a reason why the Most High, Yahweh Sham Yahushai, because all this is coming from the Most High, is going to bring nuclear destruction on America, Babylon the Great, and that is because of the fornications of Babylon the Great. In other words, the wickedness that has been practiced in this kingdom, the wickedness that goes forth the, in this kingdom every single day, because how does that scripture go? The sins have reached up to heaven. I think it says, gotten out to the Lord of Sabaoth. Let me see if you can. Because I think this is either. And that reminds me that today is actually the Sabbath. But yeah, it's either here or it's in the Apocrypha. I think it's probably in the Apocrypha. That is Second Esdras, the 15th chapter. Hold on. I'm ready at Second Esdras 6. Let me just scroll all the way to 15. Here it is. So this is the book of Second Esdras 5, verse 6 of Salaka. Second Esdras 15, verse 5. Behold, saith Yahweh, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction, for wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. Therefore, saith Yahweh, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit, neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. Right. And this nuclear destruction is the judgment which the Most High, Yahweh Basham Yahushua, will bring upon Babylon the Great for the bloodshed, for the wickedness that goes on in it every single day. So continuing on, Second Esdras 15, verse 9. And therefore saith Yahweh, I will surely avenge them and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them, right? And that's what this destruction is about, to send forth the indignation, the wrath of the Most High, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, against Babylon the Great. I was going to get another precept going into. I was going to get another precept going into the same thing. The judgments that the Most High, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, will send down because of the wickedness of Babylon the Great, right? And I could, let me read some of this first before I go into that. I want to read some of this first before I go into that. So continuing on, in that case, you'd know exactly when and where the bombs would fall first, and which cities, bases, or locations might be hit in the secondary attacks. In reality, the target of a nuclear strike would vary based on the aggressor and the type of attack. But as you are about to see, certain regions of America are at far greater risk than others, and knowing where it will happen before the nuclear bombs ever detonate is potentially life-saving advantage in the face of a cataclysmic nuclear attack. After all, it can shape your response in those crucial early moments of crisis and help you plan your response beforehand. And you see, this article is working on the mindset that there is a place in Babylon the Great which you can hide from those nuclear missiles, which of course there isn't, because there is no place to run away from these judgments. And all of Babylon the Great, all of America, the US is going to be destroyed, right? It's going to be destroyed by the nuclear missiles. Let me get this preset. I forgot another preset goes out, how Babylon would be an altar. Yeah, I'm not going to. I'm not even going to put out. I'm not going to. I'm not going to find that precept. So let me just get this one instead. Let me see if I can just use another. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can do this instead. Yeah, it's not. I'm not going to find that precept. Let me get this instead. Hold on. Let me try and look for this precept. Just like I can't remember how these things go. Some of destruction. Okay. Isaiah 14. All right, Isaiah 14, which is another passage that speaks about the fall of Esau, Edom, and the destruction of Babylon. Okay, so let me. So this is the book of Isaiah 14, verse 22. For I will rise up against them, saith Yahweh of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name and remnant, and son and nephew, saith Yahweh. I will also make it a possession for the bittern and pools of water, and I will sweep it with the besom of destruction, saith Yahweh of hosts. Yahweh of hosts hath sworn, saying, Surely as I have thought, so it shall come to pass, and as I have purposed, so it shall stand. And that besom of destruction represents the nuclear missiles, and we'll see how in just a few moments. Let me just continue reading on in this article because there are some major points that this article right here hits on that is important to go into. So now continuing on, let me just go into this first one. Here it is. And this is the first point. Understanding the doctrine of nuclear weapon use. Despite the technological sophistication of nuclear weapons, the doctrine dictating their use, mutually assured destruction, is caveman simple. Coined by military analyst Donald Brennan in 1962, the concept was robust enough to maintain a nuclear stalemate between the USSR and America throughout the Cold War, but it's also simple enough for any schoolboy to understand. Essentially, you shoot your nuke at me, and I'll shoot back until no one's left alive in either country. Under this principle, the US and USSR rapidly accumulated nuclear weapons during those years. More bombs, after all, meant more destructive power, and in turn, deterrence to keep the enemy from attacking. This leads us to the concept of the Alpha Strike, right? An alpha strike is a preemptive attack on a hostile enemy, first targeting their nuclear weapons and military assets. This, in theory, would prevent the enemy from retaliating with their entire arsenal, cutting projected deaths to more acceptable levels, albeit still in the millions in most cases. The catch with an alpha strike is that it would have to be a comprehensive, in other words, you'd have to wipe out most, if not all, of the enemy's weapons before they had the chance to retaliate. And since both American and Russian leaders have their own versions of a nuclear football, One hand to initiate a launch at any time, you'd have to be extremely quick. And now this is what I was looking for right here. I was supposed to open it in a new tab, but anyhow, I can still download the image because it's something important. You see the end link. Anyway, estimated global nuclear warhead inventory is 2022, and let's look at this a little bit right quick. Because here we have the United States with 5,428 nuclear warheads. Okay, the United Kingdom with 225, Russia with 5,977, North Korea with 20, China with 350, India with 160, Pakistan with 165, Israel with 90, and France with 290. And these are most likely approximate values. Okay, so basically what I guess these arrows mean represent next to the numbers is either it has gone up or gone down. But let's see if we can read this a little bit. Yeah, countries with increasing warhead stockpiles: China, India, North Korea, Pakistan, Russia, and the UK. And I don't know if you guys can see the words that are written here, but it's a little bit blurry. It's like a severe thing for that is this Nigerian network. It won't give you that HD 4K quality video, but we do with what we have been given, right? We manage what we have been given. So countries with stable warhead stockpiles are France and Israel, and countries with decreasing warhead stockpiles is the US. So basically, what this is saying is that the number of the actual nuclear warheads, not missiles. Okay, let's make sure that we get this clear. These are the number of actual missiles, but the number of warheads. And the difference between a warhead and a missile is that a missile is actually just the payload, the delivery system, and the warheads actually contain the nuclear bombs, and a single missile can contain up to hundreds of these warheads. So let's continue on. You can see the various estimated numbers for these nuclear warheads, and it just shows you how many actually out there. You notice that both the US and Russia have multiple times more than any other nation combined, right? If you combine all these various nations together and get the estimate, it's probably something like 1,000 and something nuclear warheads in every country in every country combined outside of the US and Russia. So at least the US and Russia have at least three times more than all the other nations combined. So continuing on. This is why ballistic missile submarines were invented, engineered to avoid detection and run for long periods in enemy's waters. These subs are a key part of the US's nuclear deterrence program, which is why the American government spends 2.4 billion annually to maintain 14 of them. And if you remember, our brothers were doing videos on nuclear submarines, a few years back. And this is the exact reason why these nuclear submarines exist. In order to launch covert nuclear attacks, preemptive strikes on the central command of the enemy nations, right? And even those nuclear warheads will still be launched as well into Babylon the Great. So continuing on. Collectively, this fleet of ballistic missile submarines are known as Ohio class. And though the name might not strike terror into the heart, the fact remains that an Ohio class submarine, if called into action, can unleash up to 24 sub based missiles with multiple independently targeted warheads. If fired near their targets, the enemy would have minimal time to respond before their warheads hit. But aren't submarines a bit antiquated, we hear you wondering? Allow us to introduce to you the hypersonic missile. That's that's the same thing as that's basically what your ICBMs are. Your intercontinental ballistic missiles. They move faster than the speed of sound, because that's basically what hypersonic is. And I believe, if I recall correctly, sound should be at the speed of Mach 3. Let me just confirm that real quick. Because the speed of sound should be Mach 3. But I need to confirm that real quick. So the speed of sound. Speed of sound. So the speed of sound is 340.29 meters per second. So let's see. Now let me do this. is the speed of sound Mach 3. Let's see what number the speed of sound actually is. Oh, look at that. You have a AI assistant even on the dog go. Let's see. Let's see how this works. And of course it doesn't work. Okay, so that means the speed of sound is Mach 1. So this is it right here. Mach speed from Mach 1 to Mach 3, speed and beyond. Mach speed is when an object moves faster than the speed of sound. For normal and dry conditions and temperatures of 68 degrees Fahrenheit, this is 768 meters per second, 343 meters per hour, Salakia. 300 or is that miles? 768 miles. I think that mph is miles per hour. But 343 meters per second, 1,125 feet per second, 667 knots, or 1,235 kilometers per hour. So that's 768 is actually miles per hour. If you've ever watched a movie with fighter jets in it, chances are you've heard them talk about Mach numbers. Yet, while pilots in these movies routinely talk about planes traveling at Mach 2 or 3, what does that mean in reality? As it turns out, Mach numbers don't indicate a set speed, and two different planes can actually be at the same Mach number while moving at different speeds. Ultimately, Mach numbers are defined by their relationship to the speed of sound. However, the speed of sound isn't constant and can actually fluctuate greatly depending on things like the atmospheric conditions observed at a particular place and a particular time, right? Because speed isn't a constant, but it's a variable. The speed of something a vacuum is different from the speed of something in air, the speed of something in water, the speed of something when it's humid, and so on and so forth. So, what is Mach 1? Mach numbers were created thanks to the work of Ernst Mach, an Austrian physicist. While Mach contributed much to the fields of cosmology and optics, he was the one to first describe the speed of sound, as well as what happens when an object exceeds the speed of sound. Mach noted that when objects accelerate faster than the speed of sound, an interesting phenomenon occurs. So Mach speed is basically faster than the speed of sound. So when you have Mach 1, Mach 2, Mach 3, Mach 4, Mach 5, they are all moving at varying levels faster than the speed of sound. And I'm a little bit of a science nerd, so I was just reading into this article and I got a little carried away, but we've already gotten our answer. So the Mach here is referring to maybe possibly, Mach 5 is a certain level faster than the speed of sound. So these state-of-the-art missiles can reach up to Mach 5 or 4,000 miles per hour to deliver their payload in minutes from across the Pacific or Atlantic. Note that these types of weapons are not universally used. After all, an alpha strike, as previously stated, would have to be comprehensive, and aside from Russia and the United States, other nuclear armed powers have a few hundred nukes at most. Take China, for example, with an estimated inventory of 350 warheads. China lacks the necessary resources for a practical alpha strike, leaving them with the option of a retaliatory strike. Consequently, if China were to detect a launch aimed at their silos, they'd launch in response, targeting population centers, ensuring mutually assured destruction. That means that aside from the United States and Russia, no country is incentivized to initiate a nuclear attack on its own. So let me see what else I'm going to get. Okay, let me continue reading. Granted, that's assuming rational leadership, which is a big assumption. Just look at India and Pakistan. In ongoing local conflicts such as these, tensions tend to run high, meaning that rapid nuclear escalation could potentially occur if things ever took a turn for the worse. Plus, with Russia's invasion of Ukraine, there is an increasing risk that tactical nuclear weapons may at some point be deployed. Note that tactical or battlefield nukes are designed to win battles and achieve short-term objectives. Strategic nuclear weapons like the ones we've been discussing, meanwhile, constitute an amalgamation of factors: part doomsday weapon, part insurance policy, and part political tone. And unfortunately, long-standing arms control treaties have been abandoned in recent years, allowing for the development of new weapons with expanded use cases, bringing us that much closer to the brink. So yeah, every day that goes by, they are constantly improving on this technology and making it far more devastating, far worse and deadlier, far faster than it was originally, in order to, you know, obviously under the disguise of defense. But you know the reason why, because Esau Edom's blessing is the sword. Okay, and this is just proof positive right here, showing that these Russians are also Edomites, because you have some dumbass jakes out here that will tell you that, oh well, the Russians aren't actually Edomites. You know, they are this. You know that the Russians aren't Edomites. You know, they are, this or that. Okay, and let me say this as well, that Russia as a country, as a nation, was actually started off by Jakes, but so were the vast majority of other European nations. The original English Jakes, Irish Jakes, right? You know, of course, most of the Irish are still Jakes up to now. Germans, Jake. You know, Spain, that was the Moors. um Italy. Now that was Italy. Realistically, that was then the Eastern, not the Eastern, but that was originally, the Roman Empire. But it was still predominantly Jakes that was in Italy, right? Um, your Danish and usually your Scandinavians, that was Jakes. So realistically, the majority of, a good portion of these European powers you have currently, they were originally countries that were led and controlled, established by Jakes. So even Russia as well, what it used to be, it was established by Jakes, but now it's Edomites running that stuff, man. They're running it right now, and they are showing off their blessing, right? Which is the sword, which is what these nuclear missiles represent. The arrows of indignation, basically. That's the how you should look at them, because that's what they call missiles, right? Arrows. They say that, a missile that gets lost, gets stolen, a broken arrow, right? So they are still using the terminologies of medieval weapons of war: the sword, the arrow, the bow, and the likes. And I think that there's even a precept going into that when I bend. Oh, then okay. That's talking about something else. That's talking about something else. Like, yeah, it's not going into the context of this video right now, but it's still relevant to Bible prophecy. So continuing on, Plan A: nuclear weapon test simulations. In 2019, Princeton Science and Global Security Program developed a Plan A simulation to simulate how limited tactical weapons could rapidly spiral into an all-out nuclear assault and leave 91.5 million dead in a matter of hours. Here is a glimpse of what the Russian nuclear attack map would look like. So basically, this is going into if Russia preemptively, right, started attacking not just America, but Babylon the Great, but also the European nations as well. And let's just take a look at the devastation that is bound to occur. And of course, it's talking about, how it will happen in a few hours. But what we're looking for, right? Let me go to that preset as well. What we're looking for is 1 hour. And this is my bad. This is on me right here. This is my bad. I was supposed to get this preset, but I did not even get it at all. But yeah, this is let me go to that. So this is the book of Revelation 18, and I'll start from verse 9. And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her, and you should already know who the her is, shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come, and the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise any more. And let me just jump down a little bit, but let me get all of this. Revelation 18 verse 12. The merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones and of pearls and fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet and all fine wood and all manner of vessels of ivory and all manner of vessels of most precious wood and of brass and iron and marble, showing you that this is speaking about Babylon, America, the US, is talking about nations right here, because if you ask a Christian who is the whore of Babylon, who is Babylon the Great, they won't be able to tell you. You may have some dumbass Christians that will tell you that, oh well, it's going to be a one wealthy, influential woman or some shit like that. And the woman has the wealth and the influence and the power to be able to buy all these resources from various merchants all over the earth, right? Various nations all over the earth, because really, when he's talking about the merchants of the earth, he's talking about the nations that are the closest to America, Babylon the Great, and have all these relationship and dealings with Babylon the Great, are always supplying the gold, the silver, the precious stones, and the like. Well, not really the nations, but the actual merchants. Like, take for example, your small hearts, diamonds, tycoons, right? The ones that are your big mega corporation CEOs that are stealing resources from over here in Africa and treating it on the world stage, specifically to Babylon the Great, because all the nations have used the wine and the doctrine and the philosophy of America, Babylon the Great, and really the merchants, which are the oligarchs of these nations, have also made themselves wealthy, increased their wealth and their riches through, by way of trading with America, the US, right? By way of the trade that they have with America, the US. That's why, you know, the sellout jakes enrich themselves from Babylon the Great, right? They'll be one of the ones, the ones that actually survive, right? The ones that aren't in Babylon the Great, the ones that are in the other nations, other Israelite nations, your sellout leaders, basically. They are the ones that will be crying the loudest Babylon the Great is destroyed. No more, nobody's going to buy the merchandise that we have here anymore. Nobody's going to give us all that wealth. What happened to the dollar? Dollar is basically, dollar is done. It's through it. All right, and that obviously happened before the nuclear destruction of Babylon the Great. Let's continue reading. Revelation 18, verse 13. And cinnamon and odors and ointments and frankincense and wine and oil and fine flour and wheat and beasts and sheep and horses and chariots and slaves and souls of men. And the fruits of thy soul and the fruits that thy soul lusted after are departed from thee. And all things which are dainty and goodly are departed from thee, and thou shalt find them no more at all. The merchants of these things which were made rich by her shall stand afar off for fear of our torment, weeping and wailing, and saying, Alas, alas, that great city that was clothed in fine linen. And this shows you right here. This is the damn thing, man. Even the scripture, e- even the scriptures is telling you that, hey, Babylon the Great is a city, right? It is a place, it is a location. But you still have some dumbass Christians out there that will tell you that, oh, well, actually, it is a woman, right? The whore of Babylon, basically. But no, they're showing that Babylon is talking about a city. Alas, that great city that was clothed in fine linen. How do you clothe a city in fine linen? This is a metaphor, a deep, dark saying, basically saying that it was a rich city, right? It was living in luxury, that the city was, that it's a great city, first and foremost, a beautiful city, right? That's why the scriptures call it the golden city. I believe that is in the book of Nahum. Or is it Golden City Slovakia? Let me go to that real quick because I've forgotten how that precept goes now. Okay, Bloody City Slovakia, Bloody City. That's what it's called in the book of Nahum. And I'm probably thinking about is Jeremiah. That should be that 49 or 51. Babylon has in a golden cup, and I'm going to get that precept as well. But let me get this. Let me continue what I'm reading here first. So yeah, Revelation 18, verse 16, and saying, Alas, alas, that great city that was clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls. For in 1 hour so great riches is come to naught, and every shipmaster and all company in ships and sailors, and as many as trade by sea, stood afar off, and cried when they saw the smoke of our burning, saying, What city is like unto this great city? And you have dumbasses like Vocal that will come out and say, well, America is not featured in Bible prophecy. what city is like unto this great city? What city is like unto this great city? That alone is your clue that wait, this has to be talking about America, Babylon the Great. These are things that will happen in the last days. We are in the last days. What is the greatest city that exists in the last days? We might say, oh, well, the greatest city is in America. America is a country. The greatest city is, go ahead, finish that up. The greatest city is what? And a vast majority of people will tell you that the greatest city is they're going to most likely going to say something like either America, right? Or you're going to mention California or Los Angeles or whatever. Basically, a city. Second, I said America, but I also say New York. Okay, but it's going to ultimately be a city in Babylon the Great. But understand something: America, right, in the scriptures is a city. Yes, it's officially called a nation, but we don't use the standards that Esau Edom uses when referring to peoples and multitudes and tribes and nations. Okay, we use the standards that are in the scriptures, and according to the standards of the scriptures, America is a city. The North City, the North Country. Let me see that. That can be that's probably even being used interchangeably, right? The North Country, well, mainly the North City. And the reason why the scriptures calls America the North country, the North country is basically because you have this terminology, the global North and the global South, right? And the global North is represented by all the first world countries because you will notice all the developed, mainly European countries are in the northern hemisphere, or majority of them are in that north, while the less developed are in the south, right? So the global north is basically all your great cities, right? All your European, American, Russia, China, Japan, and the like, including Australia as well, of course. And the global south is all the developing and third world countries. And that's how that works. But yeah, we are still talking about the destruction of America by Babylon the Great. So Revelation 18, Revelation 18, verse 18, and cried when they saw the smoke of our burning, and saying, what city is like unto this great city? And they cast dust on their heads and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, alas, alas, that great city, wherein were made rich all that had ships in the sea, by reason of our costliness. For in 1 hour is she made desolate. And the scripture said that three times, that America, Babylon the Great, is going to be destroyed in 1 hour. It's made reference to that three times, showing you that hey, the nuclear destruction of America by Babylon the Great is just going to be that's how quick it's going to be. In 1 hour, everything is going up. But that 1 hour will probably feel like a lifetime to a lot of you dudes, a lot of you people that are still in the world. Not really will be a part of that number and get beamed down. But yeah, to people that are in the world, that are on the earth when this happens, that 1 hour is going to feel like a lifetime, right? So yeah, that's basically going into that the destruction of, once again, another scripture covering the destruction of America, Babylon the Great, and it doesn't say that, oh well, you know, one part of the city or one third of the city, or one fifth of the city, or just a section of the city was destroyed. No, it says that all of Babylon will be destroyed. So now this is a basically what it is a simulation of a nuclear um I want to say interaction, nuclear exchange. That's the term I was looking for, between Russia and the US, and also, of course, the US, and between NATO, so I cannot even Russia, NATO, the NATO nations, and Russia. So let's play that. And it reads, what follows is a depiction of how a conflict between Russia and the United States could escalate from conventional war to all out nuclear war. This simulation is based on real force postures, targets, and fatality estimates. And this is basically Esau's soothsayers, the Chaldeans, are the monthly prognosticators trying to make an estimate or a prediction of just how bad or how devastating, this coming World War III could be, because that's ultimately what this is all about. The whole talk of nuclear missiles and nuclear maps and mutually assured destruction and alpha strikes and the like. It's all going into World War III, which of course we are currently in the midst of that, but they haven't reached that high point quite yet, because the real World War III is going to be between our Lord Yahweh Shai and the armies of Esau Edom. So let's continue watching this. Okay, so nuclear warning shots. The simulation begins in the context of a conventional conflict. In hopes of halting a US NATO advance, Russia launches a nuclear warning shot from a base near the city of Kaliningrad. NATO retaliates with a single tactical nuclear airstrike. So, the nuclear exchange, the war play has already started. So let's play that. I shall probably turn the screen vertical so it will be easier to see. That's on me. And you can see the attacks already began. And the tactical plan. As the nuclear threshold is crossed, fighting escalates to a tactical nuclear war in Europe. Russia sends 300 nuclear warheads via aircraft and short-range missiles to hit NATO bases and advancing troops. NATO responds with approximately 180 nuclear warheads via aircraft. Immediate casualties 2.6 million over 3 hours. And this is going into that's why I read all those precepts going into how America Babylon the Great will be destroyed in 1 hour, because this is going into over 3 hours. This is of course going into, oh, it's going to be a nuclear exchange between America, between NATO and Russia, and that's not what we're interested in, right? That's not what we're talking about right. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the nuclear missiles going to Babylon the Great and Babylon the Great alone. Okay, we're not talking about any nuclear exchange or nuclear war between Russia and Babylon the Great. That's not what we're here for. We are here to give you the Bible prophecy about the nuclear destruction of Babylon the Great. And you can see all the nukes and the missiles being sent out. That's basically what all these arrows, red arrows represent. The red arrows are Russia, the blue ones are NATO basically, and the all the white dots that you see are the actual explosions. That's the points of impact. I can see just how bad it's getting out here, man. All of Europe is basically being pelted, and this is probably what will instigate, the rest of Europe sending those nuclear missiles over to Babylon the Great, right? Because if you ask, well, is there going to be a nuclear war before America and Babylon the Great is destroyed? And I can't really answer that, because we never know what's how the way in which the spirit is going to move when it comes to these Bible prophecies. After all, it's not written that the spirit is like the wind; it goeth where it listeth, right? But basically, what I'm saying is that if a nuclear war ever breaks out between NATO and Russia, you're going to see the whole of Europe is going to be the whole of Europe is going to be destroyed, basically, man. That's ultimately the primary initial targets, right? And then eventually you're also going to see some missiles go the way of Babylon the Great as well. But the primary targets will be the NATO bases that are actually in Europe. And that might even be the instigator that might make the rest of the nations, the horns, basically hate the whore as Slakia, Slakia. Hate the whore as it is written and burn her with fire, right? Because that's destruction is going to rouse up all the other nations to come against America, Babylon the Great, because hey, those the US has been setting up the Europe for the longest to be ultimately be ultimately be a shield between them and Russia. Let's continue playing. Okay. With Europe destroyed, NATO launches a strategic nuclear strike of 600 warheads from US land and submarine-based missiles aimed at Russia, aimed at Russian nuclear forces. Before losing its weapon systems, Russia launches on warning, responding with missiles launched from silos, road mobile vehicles, and submarines. Immediate casualties 3.4 million over 45 minutes. And you see more missiles being launched. And this is why the scriptures talk about falling stars. Like, take for example, wormwood in the book of Revelation. Because imagine looking up at the sky and seeing this, man. That is over 50 missiles right there, right there. That's over 50 missiles. Imagine looking out to the sky, middle of the day, or even middle of the night, safe, and just seeing the missiles just flying over your head. Tens of them. Let me not go crazy and see hundreds. Just tens of them. Just see like 20 missiles go over your head at once. In under like 10-20 minutes is crazy, man. That's why the scriptures talk about falling stars, because that's exactly what they will look like, because you see them going over your head, and you might even be able to hear the sound. After all, they are propelled by jet fuel, right? You can hear the sound of planes even all the way from down here. You'll even be able to hear the sound of the missiles as they are going, as they are whizzing past your head. And if you're living in places like Europe, that's why the elect aren't going to be on the earth when this happens, okay? Because even the scriptures tell you that the elect will already be beamed up. And let me get that precept. So this is the book of Revelation 15, verse 1. And I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, seven angels having the seven last plagues, for in them is filled up the wrath of the Most High, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. And of course, the seven angels refer to a complete number, right? Seven is the number of completion. Now, Revelation 15, verse 2. And I saw as it were a sea of glass mingled with fire, and them that had gotten victory over the beast and over his image, and over his mark, and over the number of his name, stand on the sea of glass, having the harps of the Most High. So a sea of glass mixed with fire, and that's referring to, of course, the nuclear destruction, because we're going to be looking at it up from the chariots. Going to have that bird's eye view of the destruction. And let me use the the KJV, with the apocrypha for this one. So this is the book of Psalms 91. Psalm 91, verse Psalm 91, verse 5. Uh, Man, so like, yeah, I'm trying to figure out where to start from, because this preset is hot, man. But I don't want to spend too long here. I just want to go to the main point. So Psalm 91, verse 5. Thou shalt not be afraid of the terror by night, nor of the arrow that flieth by day, nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked. And that's how the elect are going to see it as well. That's how the elect are going to be, during the destruction of America, Babylon the Great. Only with their eyes they will see the destruction of the wicked. So let me continue on. So now, okay, I think I've already got seen that. Okay, yeah. So let me just get to Revelation 15, verse 3. And they sing the song of Moses, the servant of the Most High, and the song of the Lamb, saying, Great and marvelous are thy works, Yahweh of power almighty. just and true are thy ways, thou King of saints. So, hey, man, the elect are going to even be giving praises to the Most High, how about Shem Yahshai, while they are seeing that destruction, because it's going to be an awesome sight, man. Because understand something, okay? One nuclear missile hasn't been dropped anywhere in the world. Of course, you have these little tests that are going on, right? An atomic bomb that dropped in Japan, right? Hiroshima and Nagasaki, completely changed the face of warfare on the earth for the last, it hasn't been 100 years yet, but for the last 100 years or so, right? It's still one of the biggest tragedies one of the biggest events that happened all over the earth. Every other event that happened in World War II became pale in comparison to what happened to Hiroshima and Nagasaki. That destruction was, it was meant two cities were, and those are just atomic missiles, not even nuclear ones. Those are the weaker versions of actual nuclear missiles, and the nuclear missiles we have now are nothing compared to what they originally were. Okay, so they just keep on getting more deadly, keep on getting more devastating. So when that destruction comes, man, I wouldn't want to be on the earth during that time, because even the scriptures tells you that, hey, the earth will reel to and fro like a drunkard. Let me get that precept. And it's just a description of all the things that will be happening in that day. So this is the book of Isaiah 24, verse 19. The earth is utterly broken down, the earth is clean dissolved, and the earth is moved exceedingly. The earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, and shall be removed like a cottage, and the transgression thereof shall be heavy upon it, and it shall fall and not rise again. And when he's speaking about earth here, it's not talking about the whole, it's not talking about the whole world, okay? The whole world isn't going to be destroyed, but rather the eon, right? The age of Esau, Edom's rulership. And that's exactly what this is going into. The Esau's rulership, it will fall and not rise again. It will fall and not rise again. It will fall and not rise again. Okay? Haka, right? Hassad. This is Sikari dude, and they want to talk about Gog and Magog rising up again. That's not how this works. That's not how this story goes. Okay? Affliction shall not rise a second time. Let's go back to that video. Let's go back to that video. Let's just continue watching this. And it's just to illustrate how these nuclear attacks will actually look in the grand scheme of things. Look at that, man. Look at that. Look at that. Look at all these missiles just going out. And this is devastation right here. This is pure destruction right here. This is what is going to be happening in these last days. You see that? This is something that you probably never. This is something that has never happened on the earth at all. This is crazy, man. This is crazy. This is crazy. And look at just how many just hit Babylon the Great right there. Look at how many hit the US right there. Let me go back to that. Look at how many just landed on the US. Let me see. I should be able to speed this up. And pause it right there. Look at how many just hit only the US right there. And this is going to be far worse in, this is the destruction that they are showing you right here is going to be far worse than what you're actually seeing, because it's just a simulation, right? And Esau, they're just simulating based on their own understanding. But realistically, what's actually going to happen, according to the word of the Most High, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, of course, you have more missiles going into America, Babylon the Great. And, I will say this just now. This is just, obviously that the US isn't going to be the only country that will face nuclear destruction, right? Because that the nation of Israel, that's the small heart, will also be destroyed as well. And that's going into surely in the fire of my jealousy. Why? Let me go to that precept. Let me go to that precept. I have spoken against all Idumea and the residue of the heathen that have taken my land for their possession. Let me go to that. Let me go to that. Here it is. Let me start from here. So this is the book of Isaiah 34, verse 5. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea and upon the people of my cause to judgment. The sword of Yahweh is filled with blood. It is made fat with the fatness and with the blood of the lambs and goats, with the fat of kidneys, rams. For Yahweh hath a sacrifice in Bozrah and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea. Right, and of course, this refers to America by Babylon the Great, right? That's why I call it. That's why I call America by Babylon the Great an altar, because the Most High, however, Yahweh is going to turn that place into a sacrificial altar, okay? And it's going to bring the sword, which is basically going into the nuclear weapons down on Babylon the Great. But now let me get this precept. Let me get this precept. So this is the book of Ezekiel 36, verse 5. Therefore, thus saith Adawan Yahweh, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen, and against all Idumea, which have appointed my land into their possession, with the joy of all their heart, with despiteful minds, to cast it out for a prey. Right. And these missiles are also going to fall into the land of Israel as well. But the main target, right, the main destruction, the main focus will be on America, Babylon the Great, because even the scriptures is going into that it's a destruction unlike anything ever seen before. And look at that, look at that. That's how these nuclear war games go, man. That's what happens when you play these. That's what happens when you play these war games. As it's written, him that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword, and him that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. And this is the faith and the patience of the saints. And that's how it just goes, man. That's just how it goes. Anyway, continuing on. The counter-value plan. With the aim of inhibiting the other side's recovery, Russia and NATO each target the other's 30 most populated cities and economic centers, using 5 to 10 warheads on each city, depending on the population size, right? And it's just going to be bombs and bombs and bombs and bombs and bombs. And as soon as one hits, another one is coming. As soon as one hits, another one is coming. You see millions of these warheads, right? It's going to feel like that in these last days. Coming on America, Babylon the Great, right? The destruction, the indignation, the lake of fire, the power of the Heavenly Father, basically. And of course, I'm playing this right now, but really what I'm using it as an illustration, okay? Because everything that I'm reading from this article and everything they are talking about, this isn't what's going to happen, during World War Three, because of course the real World War Three is going to be between Allah Hawashai and the armies of Esau Edom, right? It's not going to escalate to nuclear levels until the return of Allah Hawashai, because all those missiles that you see right there, that you see in these silos all over the world, they have their actual destinations where they are going to, and it's not the places that Israel is telling you about. No, it's what the Most High Yahweh Hashem Yahweh intends to do with them, or intends for, or where the Most High Yahweh Hashem Yahweh intends for them to go. And let's play on. They are still shooting missiles. They are still shooting out. They are still throwing out these missiles, man. They haven't even. This is just like, this is crazy. They are still firing missiles. And hey, even in a normal nuclear exchange, America is still going to be destroyed. No way around this. Because if you look at all the other parts of the world, right? Of course, Europe is through. That's just facts. Even and Russia, of course, is it's way too big for, there will still have some places that will be safe ultimately, but America is completely done. It's done zone. Okay, through. And it's not going to be like waves of these nuclear missiles, like, oh, after they shoot one pair, shoot the next pair, shoot the next pair. No, the scriptures say 1 hour, meaning that everything is going up at once. All these missiles are coming out of the silos at once and going straight to Babylon the Great at once. Even going, hey, the speed of these missiles actually even be increased, because it's not going to be Esau, Edom, or whatever that is shooting these missiles. It's going to be the Most High Yahweh Hashem in control of them, right? You heard the apostles talk about how there about all the reports of chariots being able to control Esau, Edom's technology, right? His weaponry, being able to open up silos and even so they'll be able to open up silos and take control of the basically the launching systems, hack into it and things like that. And that's what's going to be happening in these last days when the destruction of Babylon the Great comes. And of course, we'll read that, of course. That's Joel 2 right there. The hosts of the Most High. And you'll see why the scriptures call the Most High Yahweh Hashem Yahweh, the Lord of hosts. Let's get this. And let's read this right here. 91.5 million. Number of immediate casualties, including fatalities, 34.1 million, and injuries, 57.4 million, resulting from the series of nuclear exchanges. Deaths from nuclear fallout and other long-term effects would significantly increase the estimate. This is a very, very, very what's what I'm looking for right now? Basically, they are low balling. This is a very low estimate right here, because America, Babylon the Great alone has over 300 million people, right? Europe has like I think 800 or so million people in it. Russia, I don't really remember the I think that's including Russia itself. That's the population. And you saw all those missiles everywhere. You see a white spot, right? Let's go back to that. Everywhere you see a white spot is a place a missile hits. And you mean to tell me that you see all these impacts, all these points of impact right here? And this is a very, very reduced map of, rather, a very, very scaled down map of the world. So some of these circles are as big as countries. Let me get this. Let me tell you right now. Some of these circles that you see right here are as large as countries. Okay, and you mean to tell me that the death toll is only going to be a couple of barely 100 million? Ha! Don't kid, man. And they are aiming for major cities. Don't kid, man. Don't kid. The death toll is probably is in the 500 millions. That's how crazy it's going to be. Right? The scriptures wasn't lying when he said that a third part of the earth, right, will be, you know, a third part of the earth will be wiped out, basically. Oh wait. And so what I meant to say was Isaiah 66 verse 16 that the slain of Yahweh shall be many. The scriptures wasn't lying when he said that, man, because it's going to be far more than 91.5 million. These are very, very low estimates, okay? So yeah, let me continue reading that. Okay, I've already read out that. And this is basically the end of the video. Whereas it's a little simulation about how this nuclear war will play out. So that's basically it. And the rest of this video just basically just basically Esau going into it then the normal Edomite rhetoric. So see some of the see or look you can look at the table of contents to get where Esau is going with this whole article right here. So yeah, what we read was Plan A, nuclear weapons test simulation, map of primary targets including fallout risks. What is the probability of nuclear war in 2024? Four steps to surviving the radioactive fallout, practical protection and fatality prevention, surviving the aftermath of a nuclear attack, nuke map by Alex Wallerstein, Chernobyl's liquidators and frequently asked questions. And look, I've already said this before. The apostles have said this before. The elders have said this before. If you are living in America currently, pack your bags and pack your shit. Passport bro, passport sis. Just move it to another country, man. We should follow the footsteps of these passport bros or passport sisters and just move to another country, man. You know, just go to a completely different country. Because hey, if you're in America and you're not of the elect, Lord willing, of course, you'll be a part of that number. You're cooked, okay, literally. Nuclear fire, nuclear fire will make sure you get done over. We'll make sure that you get well. Forget well done. So let's go to that. Let's go to that. Forget well done. Let's go to that. So this is the book of Zechariah 14. Hold on. Zechariah 14 verse 12. And this shall be the plague wherewith Yahweh will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. That's right, man. And that's basically once again going into the nuclear fire. And you see, and I even had a video going into that as well. You see, like for example, in Terminator, I believe it was Judgment Day when that nuke hits. The nuke didn't. And the funny thing is that the nuke hit like far away, not even that close to where Sarah Connor, I believe it was where she was, and yet the fire still got to her and still completely cooked her alive, burnt her alive, man, left only bones there, and even the bones got cooked as well. And if you go to the history of the atomic bomb, Nagasaki, Hiroshima, there's something called, and I forgot what they call it, but basically the shadows of the victims were burned into the ground. That's how badly they were cooked. The victims were instantly vaporized, and their shadows were burned into the ground. And the explosion is so bright that it causes a blindness. There's something called the nuclear glaucoma. I think that's what they call it. Yeah, I did, and I've done videos on this before, man. You can go to my channel and look this up, But basically, I think it's called the nuclear glaucoma. Where basically let me say, I'm just going to get an image. Okay, nuclear cataract, and that's basically this right here. Where basically, because of the actual explosion, the bomb, you even be blinded by it because of how bright the explosion was. That's basically what the nuclear um that's basically what it is. And I don't think I'm seeing anything going to start here. Let's just get this one. Visioncenter.org. What are nuclear cataracts? Symptoms, causes, and treatments. So, a nuclear cataract is a standard part. Okay, hold on. This is what I'm looking for. Or basically, basically, I don't really want to go into it right now. But let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Okay, flash blindness. That's what they call it. Flash blindness, not nuclear cataract. Flash blindness. And let me not even show that. And that's going too far. And that's a little bit too extra. So yeah, flash blindness. I'm just going to get it in Wikipedia. Flash blindness is either temporary or permanent visual impairment during and following exposure of a varying length of time to a light flash or extremely high intensity, such as nuclear explosion, flash photography, lightning strike, or extremely bright light. So, hey, these nukes, man, these nukes, the power of it goes deep. It goes deep, man. It's not just one thing. No, but it just shows you that this is the judgment of the Most High Yahweh Basham Yahshua. How deep this thing actually goes, man. It's going to be, hey, man, that day when they knew these nukes hit, man. Hey, Lord, hey, well, no, Lord, we're not going to be of the elect, man, because I cannot be on the earth when this happens. That's why the scriptures tell you that men's hearts will be failing in them for fear. Because imagine being on the earth when these kind of things are happening. When you see nukes just be flying through the sky, you're just feeling the impact of the nukes hitting America by Babylon the Great. Me all the way over here in Nigeria, feeling that shit in the ground. I can't be on the earth when that happens, man. I might even, Lord willing, of course, if you're part of that number. But that's why the scriptures tell you that men's hearts are failing in them for fear. So let's get that. This is the book of Luke. Okay, let me see if there's anyone in the Old Testament first. Here it is. So this is the book of Luke 21, verse 26. men's hearts failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming or which are coming on the earth. For the powers of heaven shall be shaking, and then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. That's right, man. When you see Elijah Hawashai, so you may continue on. And when all these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. And we are in these last days, and our redemption draweth nigh. So now this is the book of Joel, the second chapter. And this is now the big priesthood that Slovakia. Slovakia. As I was saying, this is now the big preset to get, because this is the preset that goes into the nuclear missiles. And exactly this is one, or I should say, this is one of the precepts that go into the nuclear missiles in detail. Okay, so Joel 2 verse 1. Blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of Yahweh cometh, for it is nigh at hand. And that's exactly what the men of the Lord are going out to the highways and byways, doing the sit-down videos and doing. This is me blowing the trumpet, right? This is me warning our people of the things that are about to come on the earth. This is us warning all the nations of the things that are about to come on the earth, because we just said it right now, man. If you, I said it so I can. But of course, the apostles and the elders have said it as well. If you're not of the elect, hey, leave America, Babylon the Great. Leave the country. Joel 2 verse 2. A day of darkness and of gloominess, a day of clouds and thick darkness, as the morning spread upon the mountains, a great people and a strong. There hath not been ever the like, neither shall be any more after it, even to the years of many generations. And you saw those missiles being sent out, right? Those things are powerful. They are enough to block out the sun, block out the moon, or block out whatever, completely darken the sky, right? The sky goes dark and then goes bright before it now goes dark again. And of course, when it goes bright, you know that the nukes are already hit and destroyed everything. And this is what he's talking about. These are the troops that are being set up. So now, Joel 2, verse 3. A fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burneth. The land is as the garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness. Yea, and nothing shall escape them. The appearance of them is as the appearance of horses, and as horsemen so shall they run. Like the noise of chariots on the tops of mountains shall they leap, like the noise of a flame of fire that devoureth the stubble, as a strong people set in battle array. And I was also mentioning that when you see those missiles pass over your head, you're going to be hearing the sound, because they have that jet fuel, right? They are running on that jet fuel. If you see a plane go by, no matter how high up it is, you can still hear the sound of the plane. Well, yeah, no matter how high up it is, you can still hear the sound of the plane. And it's the same with these nukes, man. When they are going by, you can hear their sound. It makes that sound. You actually know what that airplane sound is, man. And if you ever heard the sound of especially the sound effect that they use in movies for thousands of horses marching on a mountain, marching towards an area, the first thing that you always see is that earthquake. Basically, the ground shaking from all the sound of all those horses marching forward, running at full speed. First, the ground is shaking. So even before the impact of the missiles, the earth might already start shaking from just the sheer mass of the destruction that is coming. So continuing on. So now Joel 2 verse 6. Before their face the people shall be much pained, all faces shall gather blackness. They shall run like mighty men, they shall climb the wall like men of war, and they shall march every one on his ways, and they shall not break their ranks, neither shall one thrust another. They shall walk every one in his path, and when they fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded. All right, that's what I always say, because they are going to be in that order. Basically, they're going to be, in their what's the word I'm looking for right now? Formation, information, right? And no matter what kind of aircraft, anti-ballistic, iron dome defense that you have out here, nothing is going to intercept them. Nothing is going to stop them. The only thing that can stop them is them reaching their targets, and even the scriptures goes into that. So Joel 2 verse 9, they shall run to and fro in the city, they shall run upon the wall, they shall climb up upon the houses, they shall enter in at the windows like a thief. The earth shall quake before them, the heavens shall tremble, the sun and the moon shall be dark, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. And Jehovah shall utter his voice before his army, for his camp is very great, for he is strong that executeth his word. For the day of Yahweh is great and very terrible, and who may abide it? Right, and this is of course going into the referring to the nuclear missiles, and because that's that troop, that's that army that the Most High Yahweh Basham Yahshua will send out, and they will bring in the destruction, the indignation of the Most High Yahweh Basham Yahshua against America, Babylon the Great, and these are things that are coming on the earth. Okay, this isn't fantasy or fairy tale or anything like that. This is something that is going to happen, right? This is the future of America, Babylon the Great, nuclear destruction. So with that, let me end the video right there. Once again, all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Basham Yahweh, Basham Raka Kwadash, Wa Abad Babal, Shalawam. And through the Spirit of Yakim and you are quite edified, Shalawam.